Okay, this lesson is called Mean Absolute Deviation. It is lesson 4 in chapter 11. It is a longer lesson, but you do get to use a calculator, so that should help you out quite a bit. So let's take a look at the top. The length of a set of data is the average distance between each data value and the mean. That is the mean absolute deviation, and we're just going to abbreviate it to MAD because that stands for mean absolute deviation. This first part is just the example, so if you can ever not read your handwriting, go back to the first part and it will help you out. Now let's take a look at this first one. It says the table shows speeds of 10 birds. Find the mean absolute deviation of the data, round to the nearest hundredth if need to be, and describe what the mean absolute deviation represents. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take your calculator and we're going to find the mean of these 10 numbers. So to find the mean, we're going to add them all together, and then we're going to divide by 10 because there's 10 numbers. So we have 88 plus 72 plus 77 plus 95 plus 65 plus 80 plus 70 plus 106 plus 65 plus 68. And then we're going to divide that by 10. And so our mean is 78.6. Now what we need to do is figure out how far each of these numbers are away from the mean. So we're going to do 88 minus 78.6, 72 minus 78.6, 77 minus 78.6, 95 minus 78.6, 65 minus 78.6, 80 minus 78.6, 70 minus 78.6, 106 minus 78.6, 65 minus 78.6, and 68 minus 78.6. Now, keep in mind when we do this, these are all going to be absolute values, and what that means is everything's going to come out positively. So when we take 88 minus 78.6, we get 9.4. 72 minus 78.6 is 6.6. 77 minus 78.6, the absolute value of it is 1.6. Remember, even though when you plug it in your calculator, it could be negative, but since it's an absolute value, it needs to be positive because absolute value means how far away that number is from 0. Our next one is 95 minus 78.6, and that gives us a 16.4. Then we have 65 minus 78.6, and we get a 13.6. 80 minus 78.6 is 1.4. 70 minus 78.6 is 8.6. 106 minus 78.6 is 27.4. 65 minus 78.6, it gives us 13.6. And then 68 minus 78.6, and that is 10.6. Now, we're going to add all of those together. So 9.4 plus 6.6 plus 1.6 plus 16.4 plus 13.6 plus 1.4 plus 8.6 plus 27.4 plus 13.6 plus 10.6. And that's going to get us 109.2. Then we're going to take that and we're going to divide it by the amount of numbers. So we're going to divide it by 10. So 109.2 divided by 10. And our mean absolute deviation, so our MAD, is 10.92. Okay, we still need to describe. So what this 10.92 means is the average distance each data value is from the mean is 10.92 miles per hour. So I'm going to turn it sideways and I'm going to write something in that manner. So the average distance each number is from the mean is 10.92 miles per hour. So each time afterwards when they ask you to write something, this will change right here and your label here. Everything else will be the same. Let's take a look at the next part. It says you can compare the mean absolute deviation. Instead of writing it out, let's just write our abbreviation of math for 2 data sets. So basically what that means is you're going to find the mean absolute deviation for each one and then compare them. So this first one, let's find the mean. We have 90 plus 95 plus 88 plus 100 plus 98. And then we get 471. Then we're going to divide by 5. So our mean for this one is 94.2. Let's find the mean of this one. 115 plus 120 plus 150 plus 135 plus 144 divided by 5. The mean for this one is 132.8. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take each of these numbers and subtract it by 94.2. So we have 90 minus 94.2, 95 minus 94.2, 88 minus 94.2, 100 minus 94.2. I should have picked a small marker. And 98 minus 94.2. Okay, so let's subtract those. We have 90 minus 94.2. That's going to give us 4.2. Then 95 minus 94.2 is 0.8. 88 minus 94.2 is 6.2. 100 minus 94.2 is 5.8. And then 98 minus 94.2 is 3.8. We're going to take those 5 numbers and we're going to find the mean. So 3.8 plus 5.8 plus 6.2 plus 0.8 plus 4.2. We get 208 when we add those all together. Then we're going to divide by 5 to find the mean. So the MAD of this set is 4.16. And now let's do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take all these numbers and I'm going to subtract it by 132.8. So 115 minus 132.8, 120 minus 132.8, 150 minus 132.8, 135 minus 132.8, then 144 minus 132.8. We get 17.8, 12.8, 17.2, 2.2, and 11.2. So I'm going to take all those numbers and add them together. So I get 61.2, and then I'm going to divide it by 5 because there's 5 numbers. And I get 12.24. Sorry. So the MAD on this side is 12.24. Now we need to compare them. So for comedies, the MAD is less. So the MAD of the running times. Of comedies is less. You could even go the other route and say the mad of the running time of dramas is longer. So you're just looking at these numbers and you're comparing them. For the bottom two, it says find the mean absolute deviation of each set of data, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary, then describe what the data mean, what the mean absolute deviation represents. So you're going to do them each separately. I'm going to stop the screencast at this time, and when it's back on, I'm going to have everything written down, and I'll explain to you what I did. Okay, let's see how you did. First thing I did was added all of these together and divided by 8 and got a mean of 17.5. Then I took each of these numbers and saw how far away they were from 17.5. I got these. I added them up and divided by 8 since there's 8 numbers. And in my calculator, I got 17.875. However, it said round to the nearest hundred if necessary. So if I look at my calculator, that 5 right here tells it 7 to go up to an 8. So I got 17.88. My description is the average distance, each data value is from the mean, is 17.88 moons. So I used exactly what I had right there and put it right there. Over here, I found the mean by adding them all together and dividing by 8 at 545. Then I took each of these numbers and subtracted it from the mean. I got these guys right there. I added them together and divided by 8 since there's 8 of them. And my mean absolute deviation was 158.75. The average distance each data value is from the mean is 158.75 gigabytes. This does take a little longer, so one problem can take you pretty long, but just be thankful that I'm giving you calculators. If you need more help, go back and watch this again or find some other videos on YouTube that deals with mean absolute deviation, or check out Khan Academy. He does have a really good video about mean absolute deviation.